What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon NFL DFS video. This is Week 8 positional rankings. So I wanted to go through these. We usually have the articles out on the website, but I wanted to break down a video for you. So what we're going to do is we have all of the rankings in there. We have all the quarterbacks. We have all the running backs. That makes sense. We have the wide receivers, tight ends, and defenses. What I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to go over the top 5 and break down the matchups a little bit for it. So so obviously we have 30 quarterbacks, or however many teams there are. We have the quarterbacks ranked there. I'm going to go to the top 5, and then we're going to break it down position. We're going to go there. We're going to look at the matchups. We're going to look at everything like that. So on top of that, we are going to do each position, except for, we can do defense, but defense and DFS, it's generally not the best. Looking at the $1 million lineup last week, it was Mahomes and Kelsey as a stack. It had the Browns defense, even though they gave up 30-plus points to the Colts. So defenses in that sense, they give up 30-plus points, but they had fumble recoveries, interception. I think they had a touchdown as well. So it does come down to some things like that. So we'll look at that. We'll look at the Vegas odds. We will look at everything for you. If you have questions, get those down below. If you've never been to our channel before, welcome for the first time. Or if you've been here before, welcome back. Hopefully you're in for a treat. Hopefully you're in for something. Maybe learn a little bit, or maybe this will be one of those resources that you want to come back to every day, whether or not it's NBA, NFL, PGA, whatever it is, whatever DFS sports we do, and you look for, we probably have it. So that being said, anytime any of our videos get at least 50 likes and you leave a comment, so you can be, and you're a subscriber, but you can be in the running for a free week of DFS content. So you just have to have you just have to comment on the video and leave a like, so the comment picker can pick you up. If you leave a like but no comment, you don't have a chance to win. Anytime a video gets at least 100 likes, same thing, you have a chance to win a free month of DFS content. Anytime any of our videos get at least 100 or 125 likes, you have a chance to win a free year. And anytime any video of ours gets 150 plus likes, leave a comment, you are a subscriber, you have a chance to win a lifetime pass, normally $499. So we do have a ton of information for you. Let's just bring up the website real quick while we get everything else loaded. But we'll put you there. We'll show you. We currently have a ton of NFL content to bring you every week. We have NBA that started back up. We're very excited about. We've got a ton of things for you. So that being said, MLB is done for the year, but we are very excited to bring it back next year. We've got MMA, which has a break this week. We have NASCAR, which is only 2 weeks left of NASCAR, I believe. We have NBA, which is fresh and back, NFL, and then PGA does take a break this week and comes back next week as well. So that being said, NFL content, we've got volume report. It's everyone that has had volume this year, and I'll bring it up real quick just to kind of just show you what we've got to offer. And if you don't want me to do this, you want to just get into the video, fast forward a little bit, but you can also check this out. This will be on the website as well. So we've got the quarterback, how many passes, total passes, broke down by week. We have the rushing, same thing, broke down by week. Red zone passes, red zone rushing attempts for the quarterbacks. Then we got running back, rushing attempts, red zone rushing attempts, targets, red zone targets. Same thing with wide receivers, same thing with tight end. So if you want to check it out, just go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, hover over the NFL tab, and then go to the volume report. And we've got a lot of other things. Projected ownership. We've got player projections, points allowed by position, Vegas odds, so on and so forth. So that being said, let's jump right into it. My number one quarterback this week is Jalen Hurts. Now, he does have a questionable tag. He did have a knee brace, but he's not expected to miss any time. He came back in the game. We saw what he was able to do. They beat the Dolphins in what was supposed to be a higher scoring game than it was, but now he's got a matchup against the Washington Commanders. He's at 8,200 on DraftKings. He has a fantastic matchup here. If you look and you want to go to like NFL, you want to go NFL points allowed by position, let's check it out. So we can even look. The Washington Commanders gave up an average of 23.1 fantasy points per game on DraftKings to the opposing quarterback. They are 30th out of 32. They are not that good against the quarterback. Plus, this is a mobile quarterback. Now, then we even look at it here. We've got the Eagles as a 6.5 point favorite. We've got a 43.5 over under. It did open up at a 45, so definitely pay attention. This updates, we update this about every couple of days. Updates on Tuesday, then we update it on Thursday for Thursday Night Football. Then we usually do Saturday and then Sunday morning to update it as well. So you can definitely follow along, follow the progress. But we've got the Eagles as an implied team total of 24.15, 6.5 over under, or 6.5 is the current line, and that's what it opened with. So looking at Jalen Hurts going up against Washington, game logs, played this same exact team in week 4, ended up winning 34-31. He completed 25 to 37 passes, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had 9 rushing attempts for 34 yards. His longest was 24. Didn't have a touchdown there, but did get 27.16 fantasy points, and he's only $200 more than he was in that matchup. So he's already faced them before. He's got a great matchup. I know people are going to be a little bit concerned, and they're going to go with Mahomes, which is in a great spot as well, but that's what we're looking at. I've got Jalen Hurts number 1. I love his matchup here against this Washington defense. Number 2 quarterback this week, Patrick Mahomes. Yes, he's expensive. He's $8,400. He just faced this Denver team 2 weeks ago, which is weird. It was a lower scoring game than we had thought. It was a Thursday Night Football game. He completed 30 of 40 passes, 75% completion percentage. He had 306 yards. Last week he had 424. So in his combined weeks, he's got, 730 yards in 2 games. He already has 2,000 yards this season, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But in that game, he had 1 touchdown. He did have 1 interception, but he rushed 6 times for 31 yards, 21.34 fantasy points. Not the best amount of fantasy points. I think it's going to be a better scoring game here. It's going to be in Denver. I think we're going to see a better score than 19-8. And I love Patrick Mahomes. Yes, he's got a ton of players to throw to. We get that. Again, if you're stacking, this is my thought process when I'm building stacks or putting stacks out on the website. I am looking at Mahomes, Kelsey, then Rashee Rice. The way he's come in, I get that. Pacheco. I love a Kansas City stack yet again this week. So that is just one of the stacks that I'll be looking at. It is part of our cheat sheet. So you will find the stacks. So we have the stacks on our cheat sheet, and then we have the bring back. So then it would bring back with Cortland Sutton, or then it would be bring back with player X. It's probably Cortland Sutton, to be honest with you. I don't trust a lot of people in this Denver offense. I just don't know what we're going to get out of Russell Wilson here. So I do have Patrick Mahomes at number 2 quarterback this week. I've got Lamar Jackson as number 3, and again, they're just right here. He is expensive. We saw what he did last week. 21 for 27 for 357 yards. He's not a quarterback, but he threw for 357, had 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. 2 of those came to Mark Andrews. 9 for 36 on the ground, 1 touchdown. Did have 1 fumble, but he had 37.88 fantasy points in this matchup. Now he's going up against Arizona, which he has not faced this year yet. We look at their matchup, or we could look here. If you look at the Ravens, let's find out where this game is. Did I miss it? Ravens, Cardinals. Ravens are an 8.5 point favorite, opened up at 44, and it's still at 44 as well. So a little bit higher scoring game than when we look at here, which is completely fine by me. Then we go in and we look at Arizona against the quarterback. Arizona gives up an average of 20.7 fantasy points per game. They rank 28th out of 32, but guess what? That is just a quarterback. That's not saying a mobile quarterback. So love me. And if you kind of look at this, so let's think of it in this sense. Arizona, they're not very good against the quarterback. They're worse against the running back. Lamar Jackson is both. I think he feasts again. I think while people are paying I mean, it's not much savings. Let's be honest. It's 300, but I think you'll get a little bit leverage on the field because everyone's going to be on these two. We could go with Lamar Jackson. Then we look at, I just love this matchup for him here. 1,600 yards already, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's coming off his best game of the year, and I want everything to do with this game. Lamar Jackson, I want Lamar, I want Zay Flowers, I want Mark Andrews as my stack there. The running back situation, we don't really know what we're going to get. It is a running back by committee, but I do have Lamar Jackson here at number 3. Then we do look at this in our rankings. We have Josh Allen as our number 4 quarterback, but not on this slate. So this is not on. Well, you know what? Let's do a Thursday through Monday slate. We'll look at it because it is the Thursday night game. We'll go through there, and I mean that will help you out just to build through. So this is for DFS, but it's also for season long if you're building your lineups out there. So we do have Josh Allen here going up against Tampa Bay. They have not faced them this year. Something's off with. Something's going on with the Buffalo Bills. They lost to the Patriots, which I don't think anyone saw coming. He's just not been on the same page as I think he should be with Stephon Diggs. He did throw for 265, 2 touchdowns, interception. They lost that game. Still had 26.3 fantasy points, so one of his better games this year. It is true. Now it's Thursday Night Football. Whether or not we're going to get the primetime game we want with an over-under, let's just take a look here. Just sort it. Well, it already is sorted. So they actually have the Bills 8.5 point favorites here. 42 over-under. 24.42 implied team total for the Bills. So I think it gets going this week. I love Josh Allen here. Stephon Diggs is going to be expensive if you're playing a Thursday. If you're playing the showdown, we will have the showdown cheat sheet out there. Gabe Davis is a good option there. James Cook is a good option. Dawson Knox is a good option as well. So I do have Josh Allen at number 4. And then number 5, we've got, here we go. Give me a second. Number 5, we have Justin Herbert versus the Chicago Bears. So the Bears defense has not been that good. We know that. So if we look at this, we look at, let's see, where are the Chargers at? Chargers are down here. They are an 8.5 point favorite, but a 46.5 over-under, which is the second highest over-under on the slate, I believe, right now. Yes, as of the making of the video. So we look at that, then we correlate that with Chicago Bears. They rank 24th against the quarterback. 19.7 fantasy points per game on DraftKings is what they're giving up. So we put all this together. What Justin Herbert are we going to get? So he's coming off of 17 for 30. He only completed 17 passes. They ended up losing the game. It was Kansas City. With them being down, you would have thought maybe he'd throw a little bit more. He is the one that ended up making me lose. I lost in this game. I'm not happy about it. But, no, I'm thinking the Dallas game. But still, in this one, he's got 3 straight games with interceptions. He had 2 against Kansas City, only 259 yards. But I like this matchup here against the Bears because, like we said, they're not that good. You look at the matchup, they rank 18th overall as a defense. They're giving up an total average of 339.4 yards per game. They're giving up 257 yards in the air, which ranks 29th of 32. So he's set up for a good matchup. I love Justin Herbert here at number 5 here. So we look at this game. I would be stacking him. I would obviously be looking at Keenan Allen. That makes sense. Probably Gerald Everett. If you want to go contrarian, would be Donald Parham. And then Austin Eckler obviously makes sense in this one. Again, I think Josh Kelly vultured a touchdown this past week as well. But I do have Justin Herbert here at number 5. So it does kind of follow the lead right here with the pricing. But we have it in a little bit different order. And those are the ones we're looking at. So obviously these are PPR rankings because DraftKings is PPR. But those are my top 5. If you want to see all of them, click the links down below in the description or head over to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. We have it broken down position by position. So those are the top 5 quarterbacks, top running backs here, I don't think it's going to be. It shouldn't be a shock. Christian McCaffrey, he was out. He had his entire rib cage was caved in. He was in the ICU. He was on his deathbed, and he still played Monday night, and he still scored twice, 2 times. Did have a fumble, so okay, had a fumble. We get that, but 15 attempts for 45 yards, which isn't a ton of attempts. They did end up losing the game to Minnesota, had a touchdown, had 3 receptions on 3 targets for a touchdown as well, had 23.6 fantasy points. Now he's going up against Cincy. So we look at this one, the 49ers, or Cincinnati. I mean, let's see. Let's go to running back here. So we'll go ranks, sort it by rank. Looking at Cincinnati. 21.2 fantasy points per game is what they're giving up. 18 ranked out of 32 here. Then we look at this. We've got, where are they at? Right here. Currently, 49ers are 4.5-point favorite. Or 5.5-point favorite, opened as a 6-point favorite, 45.5 over under. So it is one of the higher over under games of the week as well, which we love. We've got McCaffrey in here. He's going to be expensive, I get that, but he is, he's had a couple of down games in between here. Did end up the one he did get hurt, but we've got a good matchup here. I've got him number 1. Obviously, in your season long, you're not. If he's in, you're never sitting him ever. So, love him there. Number 2 is Austin Eckler. I've got him here at the Chicago Bears. Like I said, I like him as a stack with Herbert. We go into here. We look at his game logs. Did not do much here against Kansas City. 14 times for 45 yards. 1 reception on 1 for 2 targets for 1 yard. Didn't have a good game. It looked like he had an ankle. He tweaked his ankle, which... That's pretty much the story of his life and his career. Gets hurt a lot. I've got him here, number 2. I don't know how much exposure I'll have him outside of stacking with Herbert, but I love his matchup here. Chicago's defense giving up an average of 82.3 yards per game, so they're pretty good against the run, but it's Austin Eckler. If he is in there and he is healthy, I absolutely love him, number 2. Number 3 might surprise you a little bit. It is Alvin Kamara against Indy. So, game logs coming off a fantastic game against Jacksonville, 17 for 62, no touchdown. But look at this, 12 receptions on 14 targets for 91 yards. He had 153 yards total. It's exactly what we need here. Had his best game. He's just been ramping up. The targets are ridiculous. I'm not saying he's going to get that every time, but it's the second time this year in 4 games that he's had at least 14 targets. So he is involved in the passing game. He's also involved in the running game. He could get a 1 on the ground. He could get a touchdown in the air. He could just dominate with you if he gets 150 plus yards again. So absolutely love Kamara here. Got him number 2 against Indy. I got him number 3 against Indy. Number 4 is Travis Etienne Jr. going up against Pittsburgh. 3 fantastic games here, 53 yards here, 2 touchdowns. He's got 3 straight games with 2 touchdowns on the ground. Does not have any passing touchdowns or receiving touchdowns, but on the year so far, 7 touchdowns out of Etienne, 7,200. I think I love his matchup here. He's going to be under-owned because everyone's going to be on McCaffrey. They're going to be up here. Let's get exposure here. Let's look at ETN at number 4. And number 5 is Tony Pollard going up against the Rams. We got a game log here of 15 attempts on 30 yards last game, 6 for 7 targets, 80 yards. So he is involved in the passing game a little bit more. It is a little concerning. He's only getting, the first few weeks he had 20, first week didn't do much. They were up 40-0, didn't need to do anything. Against the Jets, against Arizona, had 20 plus attempts. It's dwindled down a little bit, but it's upped for his receiving. So I do have him here. I like him. He kind of looks like the Game, like the rapper, right? I think so. Maybe. 370 yards on the year so far. I think he has a bounce back game here. I've got him at number 5 for the wide receiver or running backs. So we look at wide receivers. We come here. We change out the ranking. We go look at this. Let's take a look at everything now. Now, this is an average. So this isn't like this one player is getting 46.4. They're averaging those split between however many wide receivers a team has. So I've got Tyreek Hill number 1. Very expensive. I understand that. We look at this game. Game log. Sorry about that. We've got a game log here. He faced this New England team in week 2. Only had 40 yards in there. Had a touchdown there. I believe this is when he got hurt, if I recall. It was a close game. They won by 7. We look at this game. If we look at New England, the Patriots are giving up 32.3 fantasy points per game. They rank 13th out of 32, so they're pretty good. But again, Tyreek Hill, when healthy, he is matchup proof. You're not shutting him down for the most part. Did get shut down in week 2 pretty much, but did have a touchdown there. So if you're doing prop betting, you're doing your season long, obviously you're not sitting Tyreek Hill. Number 2 is Stephon Diggs. Again, this is a Thursday night football game. I don't know what's going on with him. It just seems like he's on a team and then he just gets pissed off and just basically wants out. It seems like that's the mentality he has there. Maybe he is upset he only had 58 yards there. But, I mean, he had 4 straight games with 100-plus yards, and he had 100 yards, 102 yards in week 1. So he's like, I get it, but he's in a matchup here. I do like his matchup. We look at this. The Bucs defense has given up an average 246.7 yards per game passing. So obviously someone has to catch those passes. So Stephon Diggs is wide receiver 1, Gabe Davis wide receiver 2. Overall, they're giving up a 342.5 yards per game. That ranks 20th overall running back, wide receiver, like tight end. That's what we're getting here. I do love Stephon Diggs here at number 2. Number 3 is A.J. Brown. I don't think it's it shouldn't be. Look at these numbers. He's getting the targets. He's catching. He has 100 yards. So this is what we've talked about multiple times. Weeks 1 and 2 is Devonta Smith. Everyone was like, what's going on? Why isn't A.J. Brown involved? He had a sideline temper tantrum or whatever you want to call it. Ever since then, 127 yards is the least amount of yards he's had in these 5 games. It's wild. It is absolutely wild. It's not equaling all touchdowns. Obviously, only has 3 touchdowns, but he's getting 32.7, 23, 21, 41.5. He's getting those. I absolutely love A.J. Brown. I do. In one of my season longs, I have, it's a 2-quarterback league. I have A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, and I have Tua and Waddle. It's a 2-quarterback league, and everyone was down on Waddle, or everyone was down on Tua, and I'm doing well. Let's just put it that way. I'm doing very well in that. I also have Christian McCaffrey, I believe. No, yes, I have Christian McCaffrey was my keeper in that league. Deontay Foreman, I started last week, went for 40 or 50. It was crazy. But yeah, A.J. Brown, number 3. Number 4 is Keenan Allen. Like I said, I absolutely love a Chargers stack this week against Chicago. So we look into this. Going up against Chicago, just kind of want to look. Did have a down week here in week 6 against Dallas, Monday Night Football. All I needed was one more catch to win. I lost 132.45 to 132.89, I believe. Not happy. So yeah, good game, downish game, and that's kind of what he's done. Down game, good game, good game, down game, good game, down game. He's trending for a good game here. We look at his matchup. The Bears defense giving up an average of 339 total yards per game. He is obviously the wide receiver 1. As long as he is healthy, knock on wood, hopefully he continues to stay healthy, which I'm not going to jinx it. I absolutely love Keenan Allen here, number 4. And number 5 is Cooper Kupp. Now, this might surprise a lot of people. I think a lot of people might be like, why isn't Kupp number 1 or number 2? Does have not the best matchup against Dallas's defense. Overall, Dallas's defense, they're really good against the passing. They only average 177 yards per game, which ranks 3rd overall. Total defense, they only give up 288.7 yards per game, which ranks 5th out of 32. So Cooper Kupp, when healthy, is pretty much matchup proof, but this Dallas defense, it's nothing to mess with. They are really good, so that's why Cooper Kupp rounds out our wide receivers at number 5. Then we get into our tight ends. Which tight end do we want? What is going to be the rankings? I think, obviously, when he's healthy and he's out there, and apparently when Taylor Swift is in there in that game, or at the game, has an amazing game. Travis Kelce's number 1, but on top of that, Denver is dead last against the opposing tight ends. They are giving up an average of, or they're averaging 16 fantasy points per game to tight ends, which kind of might seem a little less, but then we just see what Travis Kelce did. Him and Mahomes were part of the Millie Maker lineup. They were the nuts lineup. He had 179 yards. He had 13 targets, hauled in 12 of those passes, 1 touchdown, 1 for 53 yards, 38.9 fantasy points. The game before that against Denver, that Thursday night game where it was only 19-8, had 24.4 fantasy points. Hauled in all 9 catches, 125 yards, 40 was his longest there. Didn't have a touchdown, but had 24.4. So had he pulled in 1 touchdown, probably looking at 30, 35 fantasy points there. So he's, was hurt week 1, had a okay week 2, kind of just come along since then. So I absolutely love Travis Kelce at number 1 tight end. It shouldn't matter. Denver's defense is bad. He's torched them 2 weeks ago, had it coming off a fantastic game. He is all in. I think we're going to see, we know what we're getting here all too well. We're getting Travis Kelce. We're getting Patrick Mahomes. We're getting a little bit of T-Swizzle in there as well. Sign me up for Kelce. Number 2 is Mark Andrews. Coming off 2 touchdown game. Only targeted 6 times, caught 4 of them for 63 yards, had 2 touchdowns, 22.3 fantasy points. I believe he was the tight end in the Nuts, in the Nuts lineup at 5,700. He has bumped up to 6,400. We do look at Arizona. Arizona Cardinals here give up. They are actually pretty good against the, while they're not good against the quarterback, running back, or wide receiver, they are actually pretty good against the tight end. But this is Mark Andrews. This is Lamar. He can mess with him with his feet, make him think he's going to run, and then tosses it to Mark Andrews or dump off passes to Mark Andrews for those fantasy points. So I do love Mark Andrews here at number 2. Number 3 is TJ Hawkinson. He's getting volume, guys. 12 targets there, 86 yards, 19.6. 8 targets, 3, 11. He is going up against Green Bay. I thought they had played Green Bay this year. They did. I'm thinking last year, I guess. I thought they had already played Green Bay. So, have not played Green Bay this year. We look at this. Their total defense, Green Bay's given up an average of 338 total yards per game. While we don't know what we're going to get out of Madison, we don't know what we're going to get out of the running game for Minnesota. They are giving up a ton of yards here. They rank in the dead middle here. I love TJ Hawkinson. Coming off, he has 390 yards. He has 47 receptions in 7 weeks. In 7 games, he has 47 receptions. So averaging right about 7 receptions a game, getting targeted even more. I absolutely love this matchup here for Hawk. We've got Sam Laporta here at number 4. It's basically is following the pricing here. So DraftKings is pretty good with their pricing. These are how I'm ranking them out anyway. And these are season-long rankings, but you can use them for DFS, and that's kind of why they're priced how they are. So we look at this. It's been a roller coaster for him. So we've got last week 7 targets, 52 yards, 11.2 fantasy points. Week before that against Tampa Bay, he only caught 4, but he was targeted 11 times. He was just dropping them, 7.6. So we've got that. He's going up against Vegas here. We look at the game logs, has not faced Vegas this year. We see that Vegas's defense against the pass is pretty good, 5th out of 32. But total defense overall, they're giving up an average of 316.4 total yards a game, ranked 10th out of 32. I do love Laporta here. I don't know how much exposure I'll have him, but if I'm stacking with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hawkinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jared Goff, I'll put him in there. I don't know if I'll run him naked out there with just a tight end by himself because he is 6,200. I'd probably rather pay up 200 more for Andrews or just go all in with Travis Kelce. But he is my number 4 tight end. And number 5 is Mr. George Kittle. It does follow. He does have a good matchup here. We look at this. Cincy against, you see this, they're fourth worst. They're giving up an average of 14.3 fantasy points per game on DraftKings to the opposing tight end. We saw George Kittle, 5 for 7, 78 yards. Did have a rushing attempt for 2 yards. Average, he had 13 fantasy points in that one. He already has 3 touchdowns on the year. But this is my problem. This is what we talked about last week. He has a pattern. First 2 weeks he was blocked because he wasn't 100% healthy. Then he had a good game, a stinker. A good game, a stinker. Then last week he had a good game. Does that mean he'll have a stinker here? I don't know. If he follows the pattern, yes. But he's only 5,400, and he's got the 4th best matchup of all tight ends here against Cincy this week. So that is my top 5 tight ends. Those are my top 5 quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Defenses, you kind of know. Just a way to take defenses. You just want to look at, let's go current over-unders. We'll go smallest to largest. So Jets defense against the Giants would make sense. They have the lowest, or you can go here and go by lowest implied team total. The Falcons defense against Titans. Titans are going to be throwing out Will Levis and who's the other one? Running a blank right now. Levis making his debut. Let's see. Oh, I missed it. I just saw it, right? Where is it? There it is. They're running out. So Levis and Willis. It's going to be one of those. I kind of feel like it's going to be the Saints situation where they run out Taysom Hill to be quarterback for a play or two. I think that's what they're going to do with Willis. Levis here hasn't played. We don't really know what we're going to get out of him. Could be nerves. I absolutely love Atlanta's defense there for sure. I just picked him up in my season long. Jets defense against the Giants makes sense. I guess you could look at the Titans defense against Falcons, but Ritter's been okay. Browns defense, they've been good as well. So those are the breakdowns, top 5. If you want to see all of them, they're on the website, but depending on when you watch this video, they're probably already out there. Check it out. The links will be down below as well. We've got a ton of information for NFL. That's what I've got in this video. Good luck this week, everybody. Let's bring home some bacon. Peace.